Man, I'll tell you something. I really feel like I'm just spinning my wheels right now in life. Like I feel like no matter what I do, um, things just keep rolling backwards, and I feel like that's been like happening over the last few years. And I know people will say like, "Hey, life is what you make of it," and what you put out there in the world is what you'll get in return, right? And I wish I could believe in that saying. I really wish I could, but I have found that the last few years have been pretty rough. And I'd like to share some of this experience with you, if you don't mind, of course. Um, so a few years back, um, I made the decision to, well, me and my previous partner made the decision to separate. And that didn't just come like that. This was over a couple of months. We were talking about it, and that eventually ended. And then I was also in a place of just being kind of burnt out from the contract work that I was getting, only contract work. And I was like, hey, is this my life? Is this all I'm meant to do? Just go from contract job to contract job? And so just to share a little bit more, most of the work that I was getting was HR related. And with contract work, you don't get any benefits. There aren't any guarantees of your contract being extended or even having a full-time opportunity once the contract ends. So as you can imagine, when you're trying to build a relationship or build a life with someone, you want that stability, right? So after that relationship ended and me being fed up of contract work, I decided to take action rather, to focus on how I can change my life. The pandemic was happening and everything at the same time, and I decided to pursue real estate. And prior to that, we actually owned a condo that we sold, and because of the pandemic, everything kind of fell through, and we were stuck renting. I mean, I try to keep this short, but you can kind of see where this is going. But essentially, it was decision after decision after decision. Things were just going down. And look, we all have bad luck, right? We all make decisions that don't work in our favor. But I feel like since that point, so that's like 2021, where things just started going, down. The relationship ended. Lost my best friend during that process as well. I'm referring to her as my best friend. The real estate thing didn't work out after giving it a good, solid year and a half. I know most people would say that's not enough, but the amount of cash that I was burning trying to be successful, the comparison, the rough process of trying to gain clients, and being authentic. Unfortunately, I wasn't ready for the backlash that I would get from the general public about being in real estate. Most people don't want to be bothered by real estate agents. I didn't really think about that going into it. That failed. I then landed a job over at a large telecommunications company, and I was debt free. Some not unnecessary expenses, some unforeseen circumstances came up, and that led me back into debt, unfortunately, and found myself having to pay off said debt. And then I came very close to paying off that debt. Then I was laid off by the telecommunications company, and I was unemployed for 7 months. And I remember actually at that time I made a podcast about that time period, and it was called Life Unfiltered. It really was kind of the stepping stone to what this channel is here, talking about the corporate bullshit, the two-face kind of world in a large company such as that one, and now faced with unemployment and trying to date and trying to find myself again, facing ghosting, rejections, and whatnot. Then from that point forward, once I found another job, I actually moved to another city in Canada. Within 3 months, I was laid off from that job. I just signed a 2-year lease for an apartment, and I just felt like nothing was working out. And on top of it, there was someone that I had met along this journey who I thought was a wonderful person. She wanted more with me at the time, but I knew that my responsibility at the time was to focus on me, and I could not provide this person with what it is that they were looking for. And I vocalized that. That was made 100% clear. Although I did appreciate this person's company, it didn't pan out. And flash forward to where I am today, in full transparency, I am now living at home in my dad's basement at the age of 33. I was last living here 10 years ago when I was just starting university. And I am $16,000 in debt. And this doesn't come from stupid purchases or spending my money unwisely. Like, yeah, okay, it's happened here and there where, a couple of months, I have a spreadsheet, I track everything, where I, keep track of all my expenses. And I have car payments. I had gotten the car stupidly before I was laid off, having the money to pay for it. And I got the bigger car because I wanted to offer my detailing services on the side to make more money. And now I'm finding myself in this world that we live in, spinning my wheels. Even living at home, I ended up finding another job that paid half my salary, and I have been unable to secure work outside of what I'm doing right now in months. And I'm finding it very, very hard to move forward in my life, and I'm burnt out. Like I feel burnt. I have I have motivation, but I kind of don't. And it's just like I'm overwhelmed by so many things in this world today. Where in what direction to take my life in. And it's weird because it's like I know I'm not old, but my mind makes me feel like I'm like already in my 50s. And I know people probably watching this and be like, dude, you're so fucking young. Stop. You got plenty of time. And it's like, yeah, no, I hear it, but I don't feel it. I don't like I just, we're taught, at least in Western society, to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and be a part of society. And I am, for the most part. But now it's like, what the fuck can I do with my life? Yeah, sure, I got car payments, I can get rid of the car. And then, it's a lease. But it's like, okay, even if I get a used car, I don't have an emergency fund. Even if I were to get a used car on payments, it's probably going to come out to, and I've looked at a lot of cars in the used car market, and used cars today, like you're getting close to 150,000 to 200,000 kilometers on it, and they're still asking $17,000 for a used car. And then you tack on taxes and interest if you were to do monthly payments, and it comes close to what a brand new base model car would be, albeit you get warranty and stuff with it. So it's just like, what the fuck do I do? And every month I'm scratching my head, I'm looking at my budget, and I'm cutting and I'm cutting and I'm cutting. And I know what I need to do, and it's literally to get a good paying job, something that pays more than what I'm making right now. And I've been looking, and it's sad. Because it's just like, I feel like now at this point, I'll never be able to get out of my dad's basement. And I know people will be like, well, if you think that way, it's going to happen. And it's like, it's not that I'm thinking that way day in and day out, but it's just the realities of the economy in which we live in. Rent is too expensive. I couldn't even afford rent with my current paying job. I could not. I'd have to get rid of a car. And I know most people would say, get rid of the car, take a bike, take the public bus or whatever. I do too many things on my own. I'm too independent, like, to get around and whatnot. It's a choice, and I own it. And but this is the part that I hate, because I beat myself up over every little action or inaction in my life. I'm constantly hating everything that I do. Is it and this is why I keep trying to explain to people, I feel like every decision I make is detrimental. We're not in our 20s anymore. We can't just, oh, I'm going to try this out and it doesn't work out, no big deal. I still got time. In your 30s, it's like, fuck, you should be at a place where you're like, this is the path I want to take. And I feel like I'm 33 and I don't know. I don't know. You know, I watch Dave Ramsey sometimes and I hear about people in the US with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. Sometimes it makes me feel a lot better about my situation, but it doesn't change the fact that I still have debt and I'm trying to pay it off. And since I lived here, my debt has gone up for two reasons. My dog had an emergency vet appointment. It cost me $2,500. And then the last job that I was at screwed up my taxes. They weren't reducing, they didn't deduct my provincial tax from my pay stubs, and I was there for 3 months, so I had to pay additional taxes. Then I was on unemployment and the government overpaid me $3,000, which I had to pay back. And I was paying it off. It was going down, but then those three things made it skyrocket. And look, this is not a make it all about me video. The whole point of this video is to just, I feel like there's a lot of people that I've come across in the last few months and years that are feeling the same way as I have, or what they're going through right now might be similar. And I don't know. I don't know, you know, I've tried even getting a job, believe it or not, at like Costco. I remember Costco when I was unemployed. And they looked at my resume and they said to me, "Why do you want a job here? You're too overqualified. You know, we don't offer full-time hours. We only offer part-time." And I said, "Yeah, that's fine. That's good enough for now." She's like, "Yeah, but you know, we know you're not going to want to keep this job. You're going to leave as soon as you find a job in your field." And she's not wrong, but I needed a job. So that's why I do detailing in the weekends whenever I have a client. And I make a couple $100 here and there. But don't forget, having a detailing business also comes with expenses. And I found myself putting more money into the business that I have been making in the last couple of months. And I just feel like nothing I'm doing is rolling in the right direction. And I don't know what the fuck to do anymore. I really don't. I feel like at this point I'm just living my life. I just feel like I'm on autopilot. And I don't feel like that's a way to live life. Because then you'll just wake up one day and be like, "Wow, fuck, all right, well, that was fun." But I feel like it's important to share, because I feel like there's a lot of people out there in the world right now that are experiencing the same thing. They just feel like they're just living on autopilot. And yeah, I'm just, every time something unexpected comes up, I'm just like, well, whatever, what can I do about it? You know, my car insurance is going up and I'm living at home and I'm spending $3,000 a month, believe it or not. $1,200 goes towards my debt, car payments, gas, insurance, my groceries. The car alone clocks into almost fucking $1,000 a month. It's crazy. It's insane. I drive a Volkswagen Tiguan, for crying out loud. And it's like, okay, if I take that away, what do I lose in the process? It's not just about the money. I lose kind of this flexibility and freedom because I'm already stuck living in my dad's basement, and I need to get out as much as I can in order to feel a little bit independent. And yeah, so as you can probably tell, my energy is just low. I feel like with the world today and access to the online database of the wealth of information, the amount of things that one can do, I also feel very overwhelmed by that. And there's just so much noise. It's like it's hard to like pinpoint what really truly what is it that I'm aspiring to be, or what am I chasing after? What is it that I want for myself? And I find that can get all kind of clouded in our judgment based off social media. Which is another video that I'm going to be talking about coming up. So, yeah. What about you? How are you feeling right now? Do you feel like you've just been putting in the work? Do you feel like you've just been constantly let down? I don't know. I just feel like what I thought were good decisions a few years ago, where I had a partner, I had a home, I had a job, we had money, and then it just crashed. And the cherry on top of it, that person that I was with ended up getting engaged to a pilot, bought a house, has the life that she always wanted. Yet I find myself in a worse situation now than I was 10 years ago. It's rough. But I try to be grateful. I have a roof over my head. Not many people have that. Not many people have the ability to go back home. And I'm grateful that I have, loving family members who are willing and to accept me. But it's hard because the 40s are fast approaching. In less than a year, I'll be 34. Halfway almost through my 30s already, which is insane to think about. Thanks for stopping by. Looking forward to chatting to you in the next one, but I am curious to know how it is that, what do you think? What has your experience been like so far the last few years? Leave a comment down below, and I'll try my best to get back to you, as I always do. Take care.